Funny we meet here.
Yeah.
A chance encounter between Chief Investigative Reporter Berkeley Breen and one of the women who arrived at the controversial ICE and RPD arrest. That arrest and the involvement to the Rochester Police Department prompted yesterday's visit by U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan to Rochester. The woman went to the police union hall to meet Homan and plead for the release of her loved ones. But the only one to hear her plea was Berkeley.
I was in the Locust Club parking lot ready for my story when Sandra Bollard walked up to my live shot, and she told me two of the men who were detained have been moved 1,900 miles away.
Your what?
My nephew is here.
Okay.
Bollard was captured on police body camera video in March at the scene where three men were arrested by ICE. RPD was called for backup, but violated general orders when they handcuffed two of the men.
Somebody called ICE. We don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, this
But
is
he's not ICE.
this isn't anything.
RPD.
I was called to the scene, just like RPD was called to the scene.
Bollard says a few years ago she welcomed the men from Guatemala into her family. One of them is charged with coming back into the country after he was deported in 2023. That man's father and brother were also arrested, but there are no public charges against them. And they got moved to an immigration processing center in New Mexico. So they were here, they were detained here in Rochester.
They were in Batavia.
And they got moved to New Mexico?
Yeah, they had a court date here, and then they got moved.
Why?
I don't know.
Do they have any family in New Mexico?
There's no one in New Mexico.
Bollard says the men were roofers. She describes them as quiet, shy, well-mannered, and polite. She wanted to meet Tom Homan after he met with Rochester police to see if he could intervene.
That's part of why I'm here. Please, Tom Homan, can you bond these three? Because we need them in Rochester, and we will help them get all their paperwork in a row, lines.
Sandra asked that we not use the men's name for their protection. We know that one of them had a court date scheduled in New Mexico today. I emailed Homeland Security to find out what these two men are charged with and why they were moved to New Mexico. And as soon as we get an answer to those questions, we'll report them. At the Locust Club, Berkeley Breen, News 10 NBC.
The three friends of Sandra Bollard were among 133 people arrested by ICE in Rochester and Buffalo over a period of just 4 days. Homeland Security says it was targeting, quote, illegal alien offenders and other immigration violators to bolster public safety. Today, we learned how U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan got to Rochester yesterday. He flew coach on a Delta flight from New York City. Look at him there. A passenger took these photos and shared them with us. He said the White House official was the first to get on the plane and the last one to get off. Homan then went out a door on the jetway to a waiting motorcade.